The world you see around you is not final. It is not fixed. It is not immovable. It is a mirror, alive and responsive to the vibrations of your inner state. If you walk through life thinking that miracles are distant, occasional, reserved for the few, then you have misunderstood the nature of reality. Because miracles are not earned, they are aligned with. They are not chased, they are attracted. And the key lies in the most sacred command your imagination has ever been given. Act as if. To act as if you are a magnet to miracles is to rearrange the entire theater of your inner world. It is not wishful thinking. It is not blind hope. It is the knowing that what you long for is already present. And your task is not to chase it, but to become the version of yourself who naturally receives it. Do not ask, "Where is my miracle?" but rather declare, "I am the field where miracles gather." This shift, subtle to the eyes of the world, is monumental to the powers that shape your life. When you act as if you are a magnet to miracles, you carry yourself differently, not with arrogance, but with divine assurance. Your energy speaks before your words ever do. Your thoughts begin to align with possibilities rather than problems. You stop repeating the language of limitation. You no longer say, "Maybe it will happen." You say, "It is happening, and I am ready." You no longer hope with fear in your voice. You trust with peace in your bones. This is not delusion, this is creation. Every miracle you have ever heard of began as an invisible seed planted in the soil of belief. Someone, somewhere, dared to live from the end, dared to walk through their day as if the breakthrough had already happened. They didn't need evidence. They became the evidence. They didn't need proof. They embodied the proof. Your job is not to convince the world of what you believe. Your job is to become so deeply fused with your assumption that the world has no choice but to reflect it. When you walk in faith, the unseen bows to your courage. When you move in gratitude before the miracle appears, you summon it into your experience. When you smile at the sky as if your prayer was already answered, the heavens respond to your signal. Many will say, "I'll believe it when I see it." But you know that to wait for the world to change before you do is to miss the truth of your power. You don't see it because it's real. You see it because you made it real. You magnetize the miraculous by refusing to dwell in doubt. You pull it to you by aligning your inner dialogue with the reality you seek. And even when nothing around you confirms your faith, you walk as though you already dwell in answered prayer. Every moment, you act as if you are a magnet to miracles. You are radiating a frequency that draws all things necessary for your fulfillment. The right people, the right opportunities, the right timing. They begin moving toward you. Not because you begged, not because you forced, but because you became magnetic. You made your heart the home where miracles come to rest. So walk today as if the phone call is already coming, as if the door is already opening, as if the healing is already unfolding. Do not worry about how. The how is not yours to manage. The how will come to the one who is ready to receive. Prepare yourself not with anxiety but with joy. Because when you truly understand that you are the center of your universe, you stop reacting and you start directing. Act as if you are already walking in favor. Act as if the light is already shining upon you. Act as if everything you touch turns to gold, not because of ego, but because of alignment. Because the version of you who believes, who dares, who expects, is the one who receives. To embody the state of the miracle already fulfilled is to claim with boldness what the outer world has not yet dared to acknowledge. This is not merely imagination, it is creation. When you adopt the consciousness of the thing desired, when you begin to live and move and feel from the place of already having, you call forth that reality into the visible. It's not enough to simply wish or hope. You must become the person for whom the miracle is natural, expected, and unquestioned. The world around you is shaped not by what you beg for, but by what you inwardly accept as true. And this truth need not have evidence in the physical. The evidence is your feeling. The proof is in your assumption. What you consistently assume with faith becomes your experience. This is not theory, it is law. It is spiritual certainty cloaked in invisible movement. Every fulfilled desire began first as an imagined state, fully embraced, fully inhabited, long before a single stone moved in the outer world. You must dare to walk differently. You must dare to think from the end, not of the end. There is a vast difference. Thinking of your miracle leaves it at a distance. It is always something out there, something that might happen someday. But thinking from the miracle places you inside its reality, where you begin to make decisions as if it were already done. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. You feel differently, not because the world has changed, but because you have. Let the world remain unchanged for a moment. Do not demand immediate transformation. Instead, let your inner world become the seedbed of your future. When you take on the feelings of one who has already received the miracle, you shift timelines. You step into a new version of yourself. This version doesn't doubt, this version doesn't plead, this version knows. And that knowing is magnetic. You are not waiting for the miracle to make you believe. You are believing, and that belief is what births the miracle. If you continue to say, "Once I see it, I'll feel it," then you have reversed the process of creation. You must feel it to see it. And that feeling is not just an occasional glimpse, it must become your dwelling place. You must make the inner assumption your permanent home, not just a weekend visit. This is not pretending. Pretending is hollow. This is alignment. This is surrender to the truth of your higher self, the self that already lives in the miracle you desire. If you are seeking healing, you must feel the vitality, the strength, the freedom of a healed body, even while your senses argue otherwise. If you are seeking abundance, you must adopt the ease, the confidence, the generosity of one who already walks in overflow. Even if your current bank account is whispering otherwise, you do not shrink to match the world. You expand to transform it. Your senses are the last to report the news. They lag behind your consciousness. So do not wait for them to confirm your belief. Know this deeply. When you embody the miracle, the world will eventually conform. It has no choice. Reality reshapes itself around the identity you choose to inhabit. If you want different circumstances, you must first become someone for whom those circumstances are normal. That is why so many struggle to manifest what they desire. They keep waiting for change on the outside before allowing change on the inside. But it doesn't work that way. The miracle is not a reward. It is a reflection of the inner state you consistently live in. Even when no one is watching, even when everything outside tries to tell you otherwise. Let this be your new way of walking through life. Ask yourself not what you want, but who you would be if you already had it. And then become that person. Breathe like them, speak like them, think like them, love like them, give like them, rest like them. It may feel unfamiliar at first, even foolish, but stay with it. Persist in the assumption, because it is in this persistence that the walls begin to crumble. The old version of you starts to fade and the new one takes its place. The moment you dwell in the state of the miracle fulfilled, you are no longer in need, you are in possession. You are not empty, you are full. And in that fullness there is no room for fear. Fear belongs to the one who waits, but faith belongs to the one who knows. And you must choose. Will you wait for the world to confirm your desire, or will you confirm it yourself by dwelling in its fulfillment right now? To embody the state is to make the invisible feel more real than what your eyes can see. It is to see with the eyes of spirit, not flesh. It is to choose your focus so deliberately that the world has no choice but to catch up. Your world is your mirror, and it cannot reflect a reality that you have not first imagined and accepted as true. So today, walk as though you are already healed, already successful, already blessed, already chosen. Do not visit the state. Live in it. Let your inner speech declare it. Let your reactions reflect it. Let your habits align with it. Because once you dwell in the state of the fulfilled miracle, the world is already rearranging itself in your favor. You are not attracting from lack. You are calling forth what you already possess in the unseen. Nothing, no condition, no person, no delay can keep it from you when you have claimed it within. To radiate the frequency of unshakable faith is to become a living signal that draws the miraculous toward you. Faith is not a passive belief, nor is it a momentary emotional high. It is a sustained, quiet conviction that refuses to be moved by appearances. When everything in the external world looks barren, when nothing around you gives you reason to believe, it is then the true faith must rise. It does not lean on facts, it creates them. It does not wait for conditions, it commands them. Faith is not loud, it is not anxious, it does not beg. Faith walks calmly through the storm, already soaked in the certainty of the sun. When you carry unshakable faith, you are no longer reacting to life, you are generating life. You become the origin point, the center, and from you all things flow. What you hold in consciousness begins to shape itself around you. That is the nature of reality. It obeys the dominant vibration of your belief, not the fleeting moments of your hope. This frequency of unshakable faith must be embodied. You cannot fake it. You cannot simply recite affirmations while holding doubt in your heart. The universe listens not to your words, but to your state. What are you dwelling in, moment to moment? What energy are you saturating your thoughts with? Are you living in fear disguised as logic? Or are you dwelling in certainty that dares to declare, "It is done"? To radiate faith is to no longer discuss your problems from the place of defeat. You do not speak of what's missing, you speak from the place where it is already yours. This requires discipline, not of behavior alone, but of identity. Who are you when no one is watching? Who are you in the stillness of your mind? That is where the signal is set. That is where the miracle begins. The world cannot override your frequency. It can try to distract, it can try to tempt you into fear, but it cannot override you unless you submit. And when you radiate unshakable faith, you are immovable. Not because you are pretending that nothing is wrong, but because you know something greater is already at work. You trust the invisible far more than you fear the visible. You lean into the unseen with more confidence than you respond to what is currently seen. This faith becomes your protection. It becomes your guidance system. You begin to feel when you are slipping out of alignment, when worry creeps in, when fear begins to speak in your mind, and you don't entertain it anymore. You recognize that fear has no wisdom. It only offers illusions, illusions of lack, of delay, of danger. But faith cuts through those illusions like light through shadow. It doesn't argue, it doesn't prove, it knows. There is a peace that comes with living from faith. Not the peace of inactivity, but the peace of right alignment. When you are in the frequency of faith, you no longer panic about what step to take next. You no longer question if you're doing enough, being enough, trying hard enough. You know that what is yours is on its way, not because you're trying to earn it, but because you have already aligned with it. Faith is the magnet. It is the energy that reshapes the entire field of possibility around you. Others will look at you and wonder how you can be so calm, so composed, so certain in the face of challenge. They will ask how you continue to believe when everything looks broken. And your answer will not be found in complicated philosophy. It will be found in the quiet assurance that lives within your spirit. I know because I have already seen it in my mind. I know because I live there now. I know because I do not need proof. I am the proof. To hold faith in a world addicted to doubt is the most radical thing you can do. It separates you from the crowd. It elevates your perception. It transforms your expectations. And the world will eventually rise to meet those expectations, not because of luck, but because of law. The law responds to faith the way seeds respond to soil. Plant it, water it with consistency, and the harvest is inevitable. This does not mean you will never feel fear. It means you will no longer be ruled by it. You will see fear for what it is, the final test before the breakthrough, the shadow that precedes the dawn, and you will choose over and over to return to faith, not by force, but by remembering who you truly are. You are not a beggar. You are not a victim. You are not at the mercy of circumstance. You are a co-creator. You are a magnet to the miraculous. And your frequency is your signature. Your life does not change when the world changes. Your life changes when you change your frequency. When you stop vibrating with worry, when you stop carrying the energy of lack, when you stop speaking from the vibration of not enough. You cannot manifest abundance from a state of need. You cannot call in love while vibrating in unworthiness. You cannot expect miracles while embodying misery. What you radiate returns. So what will you radiate today? Will you meet your morning with worry, or with gratitude that the miracle is already unfolding? Will you speak as someone lost or someone led? Will you think from the problem or from the promise? These choices are not small. They are the building blocks of your reality. Each one fine-tunes your frequency. Each one signals the invisible forces around you that you are ready or not. Unshakable faith is not arrogant. It is not loud. It is not attention-seeking. It is steady, quiet, bold. It moves in silence and manifests in power. When you truly radiate it, you don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to explain yourself. Your results will speak. Your transformation will be your testimony. And those who once doubted will ask how you did it. And the answer will always return to this: I believe before it came. I aligned before it appeared. I was before I saw. He said, expand point, 3 up to 1,000 words without headings. ChatGPT said, to detach from the how and trust the unseen bridge is to release the reins of control and step fully into the power of surrender. Most people fail to realize their desires not because they lack vision, but because they cling so tightly to the process. They demand answers, step-by-step instructions, visible paths, and immediate clarity. But the unseen does not operate under the constraints of logic. The miracle does not obey the narrow route the mind has constructed. It carves its own way, often silently, invisibly, and without explanation. When you plant a seed in the soil, you do not sit and question every day how the roots are forming beneath the surface. You do not yell at the soil demanding it show you signs of progress. You trust the process. You water it, give it light, and wait in confidence. Why then do we not treat our desires the same way? Why do we try to force doors open, manipulate outcomes, or stress about the details we cannot see? The bridge of incidents that will carry you from where you are to where you desire to be is not your responsibility to build. It is your responsibility to believe. And belief does not demand clarity. It demands trust. It does not require proof. It requires inner alignment. The more you try to control the how, the more you signal to the universe that you do not trust its intelligence. And in that lack of trust, you cut yourself off from the very forces designed to help you. When you declare your desire, when you dwell in the feeling of its fulfillment, the wheels of the unseen begin to turn. People are moved. Events are arranged, conversations are sparked, opportunities are crafted, all in response to your inner state. But you may not see any of it until the moment of revelation. And that is where so many abandon the process. Because they cannot see movement, they assume nothing is happening. But absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. You are not here to push the current, you are here to align with the flow. And that alignment begins when you stop asking, how will it happen, and start affirming it is already on the way. This posture of trust removes the weight from your shoulders. You don't have to figure it all out. You don't have to control every variable. You don't have to chase or beg or manipulate. You simply have to live in gratitude before evidence appears is to step into the highest form of spiritual alignment. Gratitude is not merely an emotional response to a gift already received. It is the key that unlocks unseen doors. It is the declaration that what is unseen is already real, that what has not yet arrived is already yours in essence. When you give thanks for the miracle before it materializes, you prove that you understand how reality is shaped. Not by sight, but by belief. Most people reserve their gratitude for after something happens. They wait for conditions to change, for things to go their way, for desires to be fulfilled, and then they say, now I am thankful. But that is backward. Gratitude must come first. Gratitude is not the result of a fulfilled life. It is the cause of one. To express gratitude in advance is to act from the assumption that you already dwell in the answered prayer. It is to signal with your entire being, I know it's done. This energy cannot be faked. You cannot pretend to be thankful for what you secretly doubt will happen. The mind may repeat words, but the heart must align with the truth. The feeling must be genuine. And so gratitude becomes a practice, a deliberate returning to the inner place where your desire is already fulfilled. You do not thank from the place of hoping, you thank from the place of knowing. This is the great secret. When you begin your day with gratitude for what has not yet appeared, you draw it closer. You close the gap between desire and manifestation. Because the moment you feel grateful, you are no longer separate from your desire, you are one with it. You are no longer longing, you are receiving. You are no longer in lack, you are in abundance. This shift is subtle, but it is the very hinge upon which miracles swing. The world may not understand this way of being. It will call you unrealistic. It will accuse you of being delusional. But remember, the world does not create your future, you do. And you create it through what you accept as real. Gratitude in advance is not about tricking the universe. It is about revealing to yourself what you already believe. It is the outer sign of an inner conviction. A sacred conversation between you and the unseen forces that govern creation. This is why gratitude must not be conditional. If you wait until things go your way, you are not practicing faith. You are practicing reaction. Faith says, I will rejoice now because I know it is already mine. Faith says, I give thanks not because I see it, but because I feel it. This level of gratitude changes you. It changes how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you think. And in that shift, you become a match for the reality you seek. Gratitude in advance is also a form of humility. It acknowledges that you are not doing this alone. It recognizes the unseen intelligence orchestrating details beyond your comprehension. When you give thanks before the door opens, you are honoring the process. You are surrendering the how while celebrating the certainty of the outcome. You are no longer begging, you are aligning. This posture transforms your energy. People feel it. Circumstances respond to it. Life bends to meet it. Because gratitude is not passive. It is one of the most active forces you can release into the world. It multiplies what it touches. It energizes your spirit. It awakens your inner magnetism. When you are genuinely grateful, you shift from waiting to receiving. You step out of time and into eternity, into the now where all things are possible. This practice does not require a specific ritual, it requires a state. You can feel this gratitude while walking down the street, while brushing your teeth, while falling asleep. You can carry it into every moment until it becomes your natural state. And when it does, miracles no longer feel like interruptions, they feel like the most logical next step, because you have been living with them in spirit all along. There may be days when the evidence seems far away, when doubts whisper and fears rise. On those days, return to gratitude, not because you need to force the miracle, but because you need to remember who you are. You are not one who waits in despair. You are one who expects with joy. Gratitude brings you back to that truth. It reminds you that nothing is out of reach, that everything is unfolding even now. Do not underestimate the power of saying thank you when your hands are still empty. That moment, perhaps more than any other, reveals the depth of your trust. Anyone can be grateful for what they see, but to be grateful before it appears, that is the sign of a creator. That is the mark of one who has stepped beyond the illusion of separation and into the unity of already having. So begin now. Not tomorrow, not after something shifts. Begin now. Feel it, say it, live it. Thank the universe for the healing, even if the pain still lingers. Thank the universe for the abundance, even if the bills are still due. Thank the universe for the love, even if you sleep alone. Because in your gratitude, you become the space where the miracle lands. You become the fertile ground where the invisible takes form. You become the embodiment of the very thing you once thought you had to chase. Gratitude in advance is the language of creation. It is the sacred echo of a soul that already knows the outcome. And when you live from that knowing, there is nothing you cannot bring into form. To transform your daily actions to match the reality you desire is to begin living as if your miracle has already arrived, not just in thought, not just in feeling, but in behavior. The universe does not simply respond to what you want, it responds to who you are. And who you are is revealed not by what you say you believe, but by how you move through your day, by the choices you make, the habits you keep, the words you speak, the tone in your voice, and the posture of your being. If you say you believe that a miracle is on its way, yet live as if nothing is changing, then the message you are broadcasting is one of contradiction. Desire without action is just a wish, and while imagination is the birthplace of all creation, it must be followed by embodiment. It must be supported by a lifestyle that affirms the truth you claim to believe. You cannot declare abundance and then act from lack. You cannot affirm healing and then behave like someone still broken. You cannot call in love and then carry the energy of loneliness. There must be congruence. Your actions must not betray your vision. To act in alignment is not about forcing things. It's about becoming the version of yourself that naturally attracts the life you want. If you were already living in your desired reality, how would you carry yourself? How would you dress? How would you speak to others? How would you start your morning? How would you spend your time? These are not superficial questions. These are the bridges that connect the inner and the outer, and every small decision becomes a vote for the future you say you're creating. Transformation doesn't happen in grand gestures. It happens in the invisible rituals you repeat every day. The way you talk to yourself when you first wake up, the way you respond to challenges, the way you treat your body, your space, your relationships. If you want to be the magnet to miracles, you must live as one who is already blessed, not because you're pretending, but because you know that reality bends to those who are bold enough to act in advance. When you behave as if the miracle has already occurred, you shift your energy. And this shift becomes undeniable. People feel it, circumstances align with it. Life begins to mirror the energy you carry. This is not magic, it's structure. Everything in your life reflects what you have embodied. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. And what you are is revealed in what you do repeatedly. This is where many fall short. They have the vision, they speak the words, but their actions remain tied to the old identity. They still cling to habits formed in fear. They still speak from wounds that haven't been released. They still make choices based on lack. And then they wonder why the miracle delays. But the miracle is never far. It is waiting for the version of you that is ready to receive it. And you become that version not by wishing harder, but by living differently. You cannot keep living in the vibration of the past and expect the future to arrive. You must release the behaviors that no longer belong to you. This is not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. Every action carries energy. Every decision is a declaration. When you choose to align your behavior with your belief, you become unstoppable. Not because you're trying harder, but because you're no longer working against yourself. Ask yourself daily, are my actions today aligned with the life I say I want? If I say I am healed, am I treating my body with reverence? If I say I am abundant, am I giving, saving, investing, and living with confidence? If I say I am loved, am I speaking to myself and others with compassion and openness? The answers to these questions will reveal the level of alignment you hold. And when you become aware, you gain the power to shift. This is not about faking it. It's about activating it. The version of you who already lives in the miracle exists now. They are not a distant future self. They are a present possibility. And every time you act from that place, you call them forward. You make space for them. You give them the wheel. And life will follow their lead. The world does not need to confirm your new reality for it to be real. You must act as if it's already true, and eventually it will be. This is how the invisible becomes visible. This is how energy becomes matter. The world does not change so that you can change. You change, and then the world catches up. You may not always feel ready. You may feel like a fraud at times. But remember, your actions are not just reflections of your reality. They are tools to shape it. When you step into the role, you give the universe permission to deliver the script. And what felt once far away begins to show up in the most unexpected ways. This is the path of power, to live each moment as if what you ask for is already yours, to take steps, make moves, set boundaries, open doors, not from desperation, but from identity. When you walk in the knowing that you are chosen, favored, guided, blessed, then your actions will become more than routines. They will become declarations of faith. The miracle does not arrive when you beg for it. It arrives when you become the version of yourself who already has it. And that version is formed in the fire of your daily choices. So show up differently, speak differently, move differently, not because you're forcing the future, but because you know it's already yours. And that knowing is the most powerful act of all. Imagine for a moment that you are standing in a garden. The morning sun stretches its golden fingers across the earth, illuminating rows of trees, flowers, and vines. Some plants stand tall, full of life, bearing fruit, while others droop under the weight of decay. Hidden beneath the vibrant foliage, there are weed silent invaders that creep into the soil, wrapping themselves around the roots, choking the very life out of what was meant to grow. Now let me ask you, what kind of garden are you tending within yourself? For the garden is your mind, and every thought you nurture is a seed. Some thoughts bloom into joy, abundance, and peace. Others grow into doubt, fear, and despair. The fruit of your life, your experiences, your relationships, your circumstances is nothing more than the harvest of the seeds you have allowed to take root. And yet, how many of us walk through life unaware of the weeds slowly overtaking our souls? You see, the mind does not discriminate. It does not choose between good and evil, between love and hate, between abundance and lack. It simply multiplies whatever is planted within it. If you plant seeds of faith, you will reap miracles. If you plant seeds of fear, you will reap suffering. And if you allow negativity to fester unchecked, it will spread like an untamed vine, suffocating the divine potential within you. But here is the truth that few dare to embrace. You are not bound by the weeds of your past. You are not a prisoner to the disappointments, the failures, or the betrayals that have scarred your journey. For just as a gardener wields the shears to remove what does not belong, so too have you been given the power to prune away every thought, every belief, every experience that no longer serves you. This is the divine law of revision. There is nothing in your past that cannot be rewritten, nothing in your present that cannot be reshaped. The world will tell you that history is fixed, that pain is permanent, that what has been will always be. But those who understand the power of the mind know otherwise. Have you ever replayed a painful moment in your head, reliving every detail as if it were happening all over again? The argument that shattered a friendship, the rejection that cut into your soul, the moment of failure that left you questioning your worth. Each time you recall it, you breathe life into it once more, allowing it to take deeper root within your being. But what if you could do the opposite? What if, instead of replaying the pain, you revised it? What if you could return to that memory and reshape it not as it was, but as it should have been? This is not mere imagination. This is the sacred art of pruning, the divine act of removing the old, the unwanted, the harmful, and replacing it with life, with light, with truth. God did not create you to be a prisoner of your past. He did not breathe life into you so that you might be chained to memories of suffering and regret. He has given you the ability to rewrite your story, to uproot the seeds of negativity and plant new visions of victory in their place. But will you do it? Will you take up the pruning shears and cut away the bitterness that has taken hold of your heart? Will you remove the thorns of self-doubt that have entangled your mind? Or will you continue to walk through a garden overrun with weeds, blaming life, blaming others, blaming fate for what you refuse to change? Pause for a moment and reflect. The thoughts you carry today will shape the reality you wake up to tomorrow. If you have filled your mind with anger, fear, and resentment, do not be surprised when those very things manifest in your life. But if you dare to revise, to cut away the dead weight of past failures and replace them with thoughts of peace, love, and abundance, then your reality will follow suit. This is a law unbreakable and absolute. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to be followed by misfortune wherever they go? How they tell the same stories of heartbreak and betrayal year after year as if nothing ever changes. It is not because life has cursed them, but because they have refused to revise. They have allowed the weeds of their past to take root so deeply that they now define who they are. But you are here now, listening to these words, because something inside you knows that there is another way. You are ready to change, ready to rise, ready to reclaim the authority that has always been yours. So listen closely, for what I am about to share will change the way you see your mind, your past, and your future. You are about to discover the sacred art of pruning, the divine act of cutting out negativity, so that you may step into the life God has always intended for you. Are you ready? Because what follows next will give you the tools to reshape your destiny. Before any gardener begins to prune, they must first recognize what needs to be removed. They must examine the branches, trace the roots, and identify the weeds that are suffocating the life from their garden. The same principle applies to your mind. You cannot cut out negativity if you do not first recognize its presence. Negativity is deceptive. It does not announce itself with a loud voice or an obvious presence. Instead, it creeps in through your daily thoughts, hiding beneath the surface of routine complaints, silent doubts, and unspoken fears. It is in the frustration you feel when things do not go your way, in the voice that whispers, "You are not enough," in the resentment that lingers when someone has wronged you. These thoughts may seem small, harmless even, but like weeds in a garden, they multiply if left unchecked. Ask yourself, What thoughts have taken root in my mind? What words do I speak over myself daily? Do I dwell on past failures? Do I replay old wounds, reinforcing them with every retelling? The first step to cutting out negativity is to identify the thoughts that no longer serve you. You must become aware of what you allow to grow in the soil of your consciousness. Perhaps it is self-doubt that has taken root, telling you that you are unworthy of love, success, or happiness. Maybe it is resentment that festers every time you think about someone who wronged you, or fear of failure, of judgment, of stepping into the unknown. These are the weeds that choke your spirit, preventing the divine fruit of joy, peace, and abundance from flourishing in your life. But here is the truth: you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts, the one who decides what stays and what must go. Just as a gardener does not allow weeds to overrun the garden, you must not allow negativity to take over your mind. Once you recognize a negative thought, do not entertain it. Do not feed it with more energy by dwelling on it. Instead, observe it and make a conscious decision to remove it. Speak against it. Replace it with a new thought, one rooted in truth, one aligned with the life you wish to create. For example, when the thought arises that says, "I will never succeed," catch it immediately. Do not let it take root. Instead, replace it with, "I am divinely guided and success is already mine." If a thought tells you, "Nobody loves me," uproot it and replace it with, "I am deeply loved and I attract meaningful relationships." You must be vigilant. The enemy of your growth thrives in deception, planting seeds of doubt when you are unaware. But you are not powerless. You are the master gardener of your mind. And by identifying these weeds, you take the first step in reclaiming spiritual and mental freedom. Once you have identified the negative thoughts and patterns that have shaped your reality, the next step is revision, the sacred art of rewriting your past in the realm of your mind. Many believe the past is unchangeable, that what has been done cannot be undone. But those who understand the power of revision know otherwise. The past only exists in your memory. And because memory is a living, fluid thing, it can be reshaped. Think about this. Every painful memory you hold on to is nothing more than a story you keep telling yourself. A wound that you refuse to let heal because you revisit it over and over again. But what if, instead of repeating the pain, you revise the memory? Let's say you were rejected by a loved one, a friend, a job you wanted. The moment of rejection left a deep scar, making you feel unworthy, unloved, not good enough. Every time you think of it, you reinforce the wound. But what if instead of reliving that pain, you revise the memory? Close your eyes and see the event differently. Imagine that instead of rejection, you were received with open arms. Instead of failure, you were victorious. Instead of hearing words that broke you, imagine words that uplifted you. Feel the relief, the joy, the peace of that new scene. Some will say, "But that is not real. That is not what happened." And I ask you, is it not just as real as the pain you keep reliving? If your mind has the power to keep you trapped in a painful past, does it not also have the power to rewrite it? Understand this: your subconscious mind does not distinguish between memory and reality. It simply accepts what you continue to feed it. If you relive pain, it assumes that is what you want and will continue to shape your life accordingly. But if you revise, if you replace the painful memory with a new one, it will accept that as well. And in doing so, your present and future will begin to align with your new vision. Consider this a divine exchange. Instead of carrying the weight of past betrayal, replace it with forgiveness and release. Instead of holding on to the sting of humiliation, replace it with confidence and self-worth. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim of past circumstances, see yourself as victorious, transformed, strengthened. Revision is not about denying what happened. It is about reclaiming your power over it. The past is not meant to imprison you, it is meant to be rewritten by you. Each night before you sleep, take a few minutes to revise your day. If anything happened that was unpleasant, rewrite it in your mind before drifting off. If someone spoke harshly to you, imagine they spoke with kindness. If you made a mistake, see yourself succeeding instead. Do this consistently, and soon your reality will reflect the new images you have planted. Because what you see in your mind, what you continue to affirm, will become the truth of your life. Words are the sculptors of reality. Every word you speak, whether in casual conversation or in moments of deep emotion, is shaping the world around you. You are, at every moment, either reinforcing the past or creating the future. Yet, how often do we use our words to affirm the very things we do not want? Listen to the words that escape your lips on a daily basis. How often do you say, I can't do this, nothing ever works out for me, I always attract the wrong people, or I am stuck in this situation? Do you not see? Each time you say these words, you command them into existence. You are declaring them to be true. And because your subconscious mind is always listening, it will take those words and shape your life accordingly. But what if, instead of using your words to reinforce the struggles of the past, you began to speak only what you want to see? This is not wishful thinking. This is divine law in action. It is written, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Do you understand? Your words hold power, the power to bless or to curse, to build or to destroy, to free or to imprison. When you declare that you are unloved, your mind ensures that you will experience rejection. When you say that money is hard to come by, your reality conforms to your belief. When you constantly express your fears, anxieties, and doubts, you invite those very things to take root in your life. But here is where the shift happens. If you wish to prune negativity, you must become conscious of the words you allow to pass your lips. You must choose them with precision, as a gardener chooses which seeds to plant in fertile soil. Speak words of life over yourself. If you desire success, do not say, I hope I succeed. Say instead, I am destined for success. If you long for love, do not say, I always attract the wrong people. Say instead, I am surrounded by love, and my relationships bring me joy. It does not matter if the physical world has yet to reflect these words. You are creating as you speak. The moment you align your words with the life you desire, reality begins to bend in your favor. And yet, many people resist this. They argue, but that's not true. How can I say I am wealthy if I have no money? How can I say I am healthy if I feel sick? Understand this. Truth is not what you see. It is what you decree. The world around you is simply a mirror, reflecting the beliefs and words you have been entertaining. If you desire a new reality, speak it into existence. This is the divine pruning process. Cutting away the old, destructive speech and replacing it with declarations of power, faith, and victory. So I ask you now, what have you been speaking into your life? What words have you been planting into the soil of your future? If you are tired of living in the same patterns, then change your words and you will change your world. A plant does not thrive in just any environment. Place a flower in toxic soil and it will wither. Deprive it of light and it will struggle to grow. Drown it in too much water and it will rot from the roots up. The same is true for you. If you desire to cut out negativity and step into a new reality, you must take a hard look at your environment. Who do you surround yourself with? What do you feed your mind daily? What voices have influence over your life? Many people do everything else right. They try to revise their past, they speak words of faith, they even attempt to shift their mindset, but they remain in toxic environments that suffocate their growth. And then they wonder why nothing changes. Think about it. If you surround yourself with people who constantly complain, gossip, and dwell in negativity, what do you think will happen to you? You will absorb their energy, whether you intend to or not. If you consume media filled with fear, violence, and hopelessness, do you think your mind will remain unaffected? If you spend your days listening to voices that tell you that you are limited, unworthy, or incapable, how long before you begin to believe it? You must be ruthless in guarding your environment. Just as a gardener removes pests that threaten the crop, you must remove the influences that threaten your spirit. If a friend only brings negativity, distance yourself. If social media fills your mind with comparison and doubt, cut back. If the news constantly feeds you fear, turn it off. It is not about living in ignorance. It is about protecting your mind from being poisoned. But removing the negative is only half of the work. You must also replace it with what nurtures your growth. Surround yourself with those who inspire you. Seek out conversations that uplift, challenge, and expand your thinking. Fill your mind with wisdom. Read books that stretch your faith. Listen to messages that remind you of your power. Engage with those who speak life rather than drain it. Most importantly, cultivate silence. Moments where you disconnect from the world and realign yourself with God's presence. Because in the stillness, you will hear the voice of truth. If you truly desire transformation, audit your environment today. Do not be afraid to make hard choices. Some relationships must be pruned, some habits must be discarded, some influences must be replaced. And though it may feel uncomfortable at first, the freedom you gain will be immeasurable. Because in the right environment, you will flourish. There is divine truth that most people overlook. You are not bound by who you have been. You are only bound by who you choose to continue. If you want to remove negativity from your life, if you want to prune away the dead weight of doubt, fear, and limitation, then you must hold the vision of who you want to be so firmly in your mind that nothing can shake it. Look at your life right now. The circumstances you are in, the challenges you face, even the victories you have experienced. These are nothing more than reflections of the beliefs you have held about yourself. You have lived according to a script, whether you realized it or not. Some of that script was written by you, and some of it was written by others, by parents, teachers, society, past experiences, and even your fears. But here is what you must understand. You are not required to keep reading the same script. You can write a new one. The question is, who do you choose to be? It is not enough to say, I want to be successful. You must see yourself as successful. You must become so certain of it that no external force can convince you otherwise. If you wish to be strong, confident, and at peace, then you must live in the awareness of that version of yourself right now. Do you understand what this means? It means that even if your external world does not yet reflect the life you desire, you must remain unwavering in your belief that it is already yours. Because the world outside of you is only an echo of the world within you. But this is where most people struggle. They allow what they see to dictate what they believe. They say, how can I believe I am prosperous when I am drowning in debt? How can I believe I am loved when I have been rejected? How can I believe I am healed when I still feel broken? And I tell you now, that is the greatest trap. Because the moment you let your circumstances dictate your beliefs, you become a slave to them. But if you reverse it, if you allow your beliefs to dictate your circumstances, then you will see your life transformed before your very eyes. This is why you must hold the vision. Do not merely wish for a better life, see it, live it, become it. If you desire success, then stop waiting for permission to feel successful. Walk with the posture, the confidence, the energy of someone who already possesses it. Speak with the certainty of one who knows. It is only a matter of time before the world catches up to what they already see within. If you long for love, stop seeing yourself as someone who is lacking it. See yourself as already loved, already whole, already complete. And in time, your external world will conform to that truth. If you seek peace, then even in the midst of chaos, carry peace within you. Train your mind to be unmoved by the storms of life. Hold the vision of stillness, of unshakable trust in divine order, and watch as the chaos begins to dissipate around you. Your vision is your blueprint. The clearer you hold it, the faster your reality begins to align with it. But if you allow doubt to blur your vision, If you let old fears creep back in, then you will keep yourself trapped in the same cycle, living the same reality over and over again. This is why the pruning process is so vital. Holding the vision is not just about seeing the future, it is about removing everything that contradicts it. You cannot declare that you are becoming a person of greatness while still holding on to thoughts of inferiority. You cannot claim abundance while still repeating the words of lack. You cannot step into your destiny while clinging to an identity that no longer serves you. There is a reason why faith is described as the evidence of things not seen. Because faith is the ability to hold on to the vision before the physical proof arrives. Look at the greatest achievers, the ones who have overcome insurmountable odds. Do you think they waited for the world to confirm their greatness before they believed in it? No. They saw it first. They became it first in their minds, and then the world had no choice but to reflect it back to them. And so I ask you, what vision do you hold of yourself? Do you see yourself as a person who is constantly struggling, constantly being overlooked, constantly failing? If so, then do not be surprised when life continues to give you more of the same. But if you shift, if you decide right now that you are stepping into a new identity, a new power, a new story, then nothing in this world can stop you. But remember this, holding the vision is not a passive act. It is a daily discipline. Every morning before you step out into the world, remind yourself of who you really are. Not who your past says you are, not who your fears say you are, but who God created you to be. Throughout the day, when doubts creep in, reject them. Do not entertain thoughts that contradict your vision. If an old belief tries to resurface, prune it immediately. Every night before you sleep, reinforce your vision. Replay your success, your peace, your joy in your mind. Let it sink deep into your subconscious so that when you wake up, it becomes more and more real. Because make no mistake, you are always creating. The only question is, what are you creating? If you do not deliberately hold the vision of who you want to be, then by default you will continue repeating who you have been. But if you take control, if you prune the past and nurture the future, then the life you desire is not just possible, it is inevitable. There is an unseen rhythm to the universe, a divine order orchestrating events with precision beyond human understanding. And yet, how often do we become impatient? How often do we question why things are not happening fast enough? When you begin to prune negativity from your life, to revise your past, to speak only what you wish to manifest, and to hold the vision of who you are becoming, there will be moments when the external world appears unchanged. There will be moments of waiting, moments where nothing seems to be happening. And in those moments, doubt will try to creep back in. But understand this, a delay is not a denial. A farmer does not plant a seed and dig it up the next day to check if it is growing. He trusts the process. He knows that beneath the soil, where his eyes cannot see, a transformation is taking place. And in the same way, when you revise your mind, when you prune away old beliefs and plant new ones, there is a season of unseen growth before the harvest arrives. Too often, people give up in this waiting period. They start strong, filled with faith, declaring abundance, love, and success. But when weeks pass, when months pass, and they do not yet see the results, they abandon their vision. They speak words of doubt, undoing the very work they started. This is why trust in divine timing is essential. Think of every great transformation in nature. Pregnancy, the changing of the seasons, the blooming of a flower, none of these happen overnight. God moves in seasons, not seconds. You may be in a winter season right now, where everything seems barren, where it feels like nothing is happening. But winter is not the death of life. It is the preparation for new beginnings. What seems like silence is actually divine alignment. But here's where most people go wrong. Instead of trusting the process, they allow fear and impatience to take control. They worry that if things don't change soon, they never will. And so they react out of desperation, making impulsive choices that only delay their blessings further. Let me ask you, if you truly knew that everything you desire was already on its way, would you be anxious? If you were certain that your prayers were being answered, would you still stress over how and when it will happen? This is why faith and patience go hand in hand. The test is not just in what you believe it is, in how long you are willing to stand firm in that belief. Many people unknowingly sabotage their own blessings because they try to force things before their time. They step ahead of divine order, trying to control what was never theirs to control. And in doing so, they create unnecessary struggle. But those who truly understand the power of faith know that there is no need to chase what is already destined. Do not be fooled by what you see in the physical realm. Everything is working together for your good. Even the delays, even the rejections, even the setbacks, every single one is positioning you for something greater. So do not rush the process. Trust the timing. Continue pruning your mind, continue holding your vision, continue aligning yourself with the life you desire. And when the time is right, when everything is prepared, when you are prepared, your harvest will come. The process of pruning negativity is not something you do once and forget. It is not a task to be checked off a list, a single act of self-improvement that can be completed and set aside. It is a discipline, a lifelong practice, a way of being that must be cultivated every single day. Just as a garden left unattended will eventually become overgrown with weeds, your mind must be constantly tended to, refined and purified. Negativity does not announce its return with great fanfare. It does not knock on the door and wait for permission to enter. It seeps in quietly, creeping into your thoughts through the smallest cracks, disguising itself as reason, logic, or even self-preservation. It embeds itself in the moments when you are tired, overwhelmed, or distracted. It takes root in the form of minor complaints, small doubts, casual criticisms, things that seem insignificant in the moment, but, if left unchecked, will once again grow into patterns that shape your reality. Every day you are faced with external influences that attempt to plant new seeds in your mind. Conversations filled with gossip and negativity, news designed to stir fear and anxiety, social media that promotes comparison and discontent. If you are not intentional about what you allow into your consciousness, you will absorb these influences without realizing it. You must become aware of the thoughts you entertain and the energy you engage with. If a conversation is pulling you into gossip, step away. If the news is filling your mind with fear, turn it off. If a relationship constantly drains you and fills your heart with doubt, consider whether it belongs in your life. It is not about shutting out the world, but about protecting the sacred ground of your mind. The more disciplined you become in guarding your inner space, the more you will notice how easily negativity tries to find its way back in. And the more you practice cutting it away, the sharper your pruning shears will become. It is written that you must be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This renewal is not a one-time event. It is a daily, ongoing process. The mind is like a river, always flowing, always shifting, always absorbing what it is exposed to. If you do not actively direct its course, it will drift according to external conditions. You must take command of your thoughts and be ruthless in removing anything that does not align with the life you are creating. Do not allow yourself to dwell on thoughts of failure, regret, or self-doubt. If an old fear resurfaces, cut it away immediately. If resentment begins to take root, remove it before it spreads. Do not entertain self-pity, even for a moment. Do not give negativity a home in your mind, not even for a night. The sooner you remove it, the weaker it becomes. This is why the most successful, peaceful, and fulfilled individuals are constantly refining themselves. They do not settle for past victories, nor do they allow old limitations to creep back into their minds. They remain vigilant, always pruning away distractions, temptations, and thoughts that no longer serve them. They understand that growth is not something that happens in a single breakthrough, but is built through daily discipline, moment by moment, choice by choice. They take time to reflect, to observe their own thoughts, to question whether they are still aligned with their highest vision. And when they notice even the slightest misalignment, they correct it immediately. This is the difference between those who continue to elevate and those who remain stuck in cycles of frustration and stagnation. There is no final destination in this journey. There is no point where you will have pruned your mind so thoroughly that it no longer requires tending. Every new level of success, every new chapter of growth, will bring new challenges, new distractions, and new tests of your discipline. The stronger you become, the greater the responsibility to maintain your inner clarity. The more abundant your life becomes, the more vital it is to protect your energy from influences that seek to pull you back into the patterns you have worked so hard to leave behind. There will be days when the process feels exhausting, when the weight of external pressure makes it tempting to let your guard down, to relax the standards you have set for yourself. But in those moments, remember why you began this journey. Remember the transformation you have already experienced, the peace you have cultivated, the power you have reclaimed. The mind will always default to what is familiar unless you deliberately reprogram it. You must reinforce the new identity you are building every single day. Do not allow yourself to slip back into old habits of thought simply because they feel comfortable. Growth is uncomfortable by nature. It requires stretching, breaking, and rebuilding. It demands that you choose who you want to be even before the evidence of that transformation is visible in your external world. It requires that you keep pruning, keep refining, keep aligning, even when no one else understands the process you are going through. Every night before you sleep, take inventory of your mind. Reflect on your day. Were there moments where you allowed negativity to enter? Were there thoughts you entertained that should have been cut away? If so, revise them in your mind. Remove them before they have a chance to take root overnight. Replace them with thoughts of power, faith, and purpose. See yourself as the person you are becoming, not the person you used to be. Each morning, recommit to this discipline. Speak words that affirm the life you are creating. Walk with the posture of someone who is already victorious. Keep your focus so locked on your vision that no external circumstance can shake it. Understand that the enemy of your transformation is not always an external force. More often than not, it is the small, daily compromises that weaken your foundation. The moments when you allow a negative thought to linger instead of cutting it off. The times when you settle for less because you are tired of waiting. The times when you let fear dictate your choices instead of faith. The transformation you seek is not a mystery. It is a formula. Those who succeed in removing negativity from their lives are those who remain consistent in the pruning process. It will take time. It will take patience. But the reward is undeniable. When you live in alignment with the highest version of yourself, when you train your mind to reject negativity instantly, when you master the discipline of pruning your thoughts every single day, you will experience a freedom, a peace, and a level of power that few ever attain. Your mind will no longer be a battlefield, but a garden flourishing with divine abundance. The pruning process never ends, but those who commit to it will continue to grow, to evolve, and to walk in the fullness of their purpose. You have now been given the shears, the divine tools to cut away every weight, every lie, every limiting belief that has ever held you back. You have learned how to identify the weeds in your mind, revise your painful memories, speak only what you wish to see, surround yourself with positivity, hold the vision of who you are becoming, trust in divine timing, and never stop pruning. These are not just principles. They are the very foundations of transformation. But now comes the most important question: will you use them? Knowledge alone changes nothing. You can listen to these words, nod your head in agreement, even feel inspired, but if you do not take action, nothing in your life will change. Look at your mind as a garden once more. You now see the weeds, those negative thoughts, those painful memories, those patterns of fear and doubt. They are still there, waiting to be removed. And only you can do it. No one else can prune your garden for you. So the choice is yours. You can allow the old weeds to remain, continuing to choke the life out of your dreams. You can keep watering the past with your thoughts, reliving the pain, reinforcing the same struggles. You can remain in the same cycles, wondering why nothing ever changes. Or you can decide right now that this is the moment everything shifts. You can take up the pruning shears and begin the work. You can revise, you can speak life, you can align yourself with the future you are meant to have. You can create a new reality, a new identity, a new life. It will not happen overnight. The process requires commitment, discipline, and faith. But I promise you, if you remain steadfast, if you truly embrace these principles, if you make pruning a daily practice, then you will wake up one day and realize the negativity is gone. The fears that once held you back have no more power. The doubts that once whispered in your mind have gone silent. The memories that once tormented you no longer have weight, and in their place, abundance, peace, strength, purpose. This is the reward for those who take this journey seriously. You were never meant to live burdened by negativity. You were never meant to be trapped in cycles of pain, lack, and limitation. You were created for greatness, for joy, for divine fulfillment. And now you know the way. So stand up. Take the shears, cut away everything that does not belong in the life you are stepping into, and never look back. Your new life begins now. There is a divine order to the universe, an unseen rhythm orchestrating all things. It moves the stars, breathes life into the flowers, and whispers into the hearts of those who dare to believe. And yet, so many walk through life shackled by the illusion of struggle, convinced that wealth is an uphill battle, a prize reserved for the fortunate few. But what if I told you that getting rich is not just possible, it is easy? What if I told you that abundance is not something you chase, but something you summon? What if I told you that God has already placed in you the power to command wealth as effortlessly as the sun commands the day? Pause for a moment. Reflect. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract riches while others toil endlessly in vain? Do you truly believe that God, the creator of all things, designed you for lack, for hardship, for ceaseless struggle? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow, they do not reap, yet their needs are met. Look at the lilies of the field, how effortlessly they grow, adorned in beauty without laboring for it. If God provides for them in such splendor, how much more will He provide for you, His most beloved creation? The truth is, wealth is not something outside of you. It is not locked away in some distant vault, requiring toil and tears to access. It is within you. It has always been within you. The only thing that separates the wealthy from the struggling is the understanding of this truth. The rich know that abundance is not earned, it is aligned with. They do not strain, they do not beg, they do not fear lack, because they have mastered the simple yet profound law of creation. That which you believe in your heart becomes the reality you walk in. Do you know why so many never taste wealth? It is not because they are unworthy. It is not because they lack intelligence, skill, or opportunity. It is because they have accepted the lie that money is hard to obtain. They have built altars in their minds, worshipping struggle, glorifying hardship, and bowing to the false god of limitation. They proclaim with their mouths that they wish to be rich, yet in the secret chambers of their hearts, they whisper, "I am not worthy. It is too difficult. I will never have enough." And so the universe answers them accordingly, not out of cruelty, but out of divine obedience. For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The moment you declare in the depths of your soul that you are wealthy, that moment the world bends to your belief. It does not matter what your eyes see or what your hands hold today, your reality is a reflection of the thoughts you have consistently entertained. Change your thoughts, and your world must obey. Do you not see? You are not waiting on wealth. Wealth is waiting on you. Many pray for abundance, but they pray from a place of lack. They beg as if they are distant from the blessings of God, as if their Father in heaven must be convinced to bless them. But is a child required to plead for the inheritance that is rightfully theirs? Does a king's son live as a beggar? No. Yet so many carry the mindset of slaves when they were born to reign. You must step into the knowing that wealth is already yours. Not tomorrow, not in some distant future, but now. You must walk as if the riches of heaven have already been deposited into your account. Feel the weight of gold in your hands before it arrives. Speak as if you already possess it. Rejoice in gratitude as if your prayers have already been answered. And watch as surely as the sun rises how the world reshapes itself around your conviction. You are not meant for struggle. You are not meant for lack. The same divine breath that spoke galaxies into existence dwells within you. What then can be impossible for you? The question is not whether you can be rich. The question is, will you dare to believe? Everything you experience in your life, your successes, your failures, your financial condition is a reflection of what you believe in your mind. The world around you does not create your reality. It only mirrors back what you hold as truth within yourself. If you believe money is hard to obtain, life will prove you right. If you believe abundance flows effortlessly to you, the universe will make sure that happens. Your mind is the foundation upon which your financial destiny is built. Think of it this way: if you look into a mirror and frown, the reflection does not smile back. The mirror does not create the frown, it only shows what is already there. Life operates in the same way. The wealth you desire is not something you must chase, it is something that will naturally appear when your inner state aligns with it. Have you ever noticed how those who constantly complain about lack continue to struggle? They say, "I never have enough," and so they don't. They say money is hard to come by, and so it is. But those who carry a mindset of abundance, even in the smallest ways, seem to attract opportunities without effort. This is not coincidence, this is law. The wealthy do not dwell on the fear of losing money, they expect more of it to flow to them. And so it does. Look at the patterns in your life. What do your finances say about your beliefs? If your reality does not match your desires, then something in your mind must shift. You must reprogram your thoughts to reflect the wealth you want to experience. Every time you catch yourself thinking in terms of lack, stop immediately and replace it with abundance. Instead of saying, "I can't afford this," say, "How can I afford this?" Instead of saying, "I am broke," say, "I am in the process of creating wealth." This is not about denying your reality, it is about reshaping your subconscious expectations so that the world responds accordingly. If you truly want to become rich, start by becoming wealthy in your mind first. Visualize yourself in prosperity. Imagine yourself handling large amounts of money with ease. Speak to yourself as if you are already living the reality you desire. Do not entertain thoughts of lack, even for a moment. The more you affirm your wealth internally, the faster it will manifest externally. Your wealth is not outside of you, it begins inside. Change your mind and your world will follow. Words are more powerful than most people realize. They are not just sounds, they are creative forces that shape reality. What you say about yourself, your finances, and your future has the power to open doors or slam them shut. If you desire wealth, you must train yourself to speak as if you already possess it. Consider this: when a king speaks, his words command armies. When a business leader makes a decision, markets shift. When you declare something with authority, the universe responds in kind. The problem is that most people speak from a place of lack, and by doing so, they unknowingly reinforce their struggles. How often do you hear people say, "I can't afford that," or "I'm always broke," or "I'll never be rich"? Every time those words leave their mouths, they are programming their subconscious to keep them in financial struggle. They are placing orders with the universe for continued lack. It does not matter if they wish to be rich, what they are speaking and reinforcing is the opposite. You must discipline yourself to speak words of abundance at all times. Instead of saying, "I can't afford this," say, "I choose to prioritize my spending." Instead of saying, "I don't have money," say, "Money is flowing to me in expected and unexpected ways." Instead of saying, "I will be rich one day," say, "I am already rich and more is coming." This is not about lying to yourself, it is about training your subconscious to accept wealth as your reality. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined, it only accepts what is repeated with conviction. If you repeatedly declare yourself wealthy, your mind will begin to accept it. and your actions will start aligning with this new identity. You do not need to see wealth to start speaking it. Just as a seed does not need to see the sun before it starts growing toward the surface, you must begin speaking prosperity before you physically experience it. Say it in the morning, say it in the evening, say it in moments of doubt. Speak wealth as naturally as you breathe, and soon reality will bend to match your words. What you say about your life today will shape what you experience tomorrow. If you want to be rich, stop talking like a poor person. Speak as if you already have it, and soon you will. There is a divine secret that most people overlook when trying to manifest wealth. You must feel rich before you ever see a dip. Wealth is not something you wait for. It is something you embody. The universe does not give you what you want, it gives you what you are. And what you are is determined by the feelings you cultivate daily. Think about a time when you felt truly excited about something before it happened. Maybe you were about to go on a long-awaited trip, or you were expecting a gift. The joy, the anticipation, the certainty it was all real, even before the moment arrived. That feeling was so strong that it pulled the experience toward you. Wealth works the same way. If you constantly feel anxious, desperate, or fearful about money, you are pushing it away. But if you can generate the feeling of abundance before it physically arrives, you become a magnet for riches. Some people say, "How can I feel wealthy when my bank account is empty?" But that is like saying, "How can I feel warm before I see the sun?" The sun exists even when clouds hide it. Wealth exists even when you don't see it. Your job is to tap into the reality of wealth before it reveals itself in your life. Close your eyes and imagine holding stacks of money in your hands. Feel the texture of the bills, the weight of gold, the smoothness of luxury. Picture yourself walking into a grand home, not as a visitor, but as the owner. Drive the car of your dreams in your mind. Smell the leather seats, hear the engine purr. Don't just see it, feel it. Make the experience so real that your body responds as if it is already happening. The universe does not respond to words alone, it responds to emotion. If you say, "I am rich," but deep inside, you feel doubtful or fearful, your words are powerless. But if you say, "I am rich," and your body, mind, and soul feel it as truth, reality has no choice but to align with you. Your current circumstances do not matter. The past does not matter. What matters is what you feel now. If you can feel wealth today, you will live wealth tomorrow. For centuries, people have been conditioned to believe that struggle is a necessary path to success. They glorify hardship, thinking that only through suffering can they earn wealth. But this is a lie designed to keep people enslaved to limitations. Wealth is not a reward for struggle, it is a reward for alignment. Look at the most successful people in the world. Do they seem exhausted, burdened, and defeated by their work? Or do they seem energized, passionate, and free? The wealthy do not operate under the belief that struggle is necessary. They understand that money flows easily when they are in harmony with abundance. The moment you believe that struggle is required to be rich, you create obstacles for yourself. You tell the universe, "I must suffer before I succeed," and so suffering becomes your reality. You attract jobs that drain you, businesses that fail, and opportunities that seem just out of reach. But when you release this belief, you open the floodgates for wealth to come effortlessly. Does the river struggle to flow? Does the sun struggle to shine? No. They exist in a natural state of ease. You were meant to operate the same way. Wealth should not be a fight, it should be a natural extension of who you are. So how do you break free from the mindset of struggle? First, stop speaking about hardship as if it is a badge of honor. Stop saying nothing comes easy or life is a battle. These words shape your reality. Instead, declare, "Money comes to me easily and abundantly." Speak of ease and ease will find you. Shift your energy. If a task feels forced, if it drains your spirit, it is not your path. The wealthy do not chase opportunities that exhaust them, they align with opportunities that excite them. Follow what feels good, because what feels good is in harmony with your destiny. Trust in divine provision. God did not create you to suffer. He did not place you on this earth to scrape and struggle. He designed you for joy, for expansion, for abundance. The moment you believe this truth, everything will change. Doors will open, opportunities will flow, and money will come not through force, but through alignment. Let go of struggle. Wealth is not hard. It is waiting for you to step into the flow. One of the greatest paradoxes of wealth is this: the more you give, the more you receive. The world teaches us that giving leads to lack, that if you give too much, you will have nothing left. But spiritual law operates differently. True abundance is activated through generosity. The hand that gives is the same hand that receives. Think about the flow of nature. The ocean does not hoard its water. It gives freely through evaporation, and in return the rains replenish it. A tree does not cling to its fruits. It lets them fall, feeding others, and in return it receives nourishment from the soil. Everything in the universe operates in a cycle of giving and receiving. When you interrupt this cycle by hoarding, by holding on too tightly, you block the flow of wealth into your life. Most people live in fear when it comes to money. They say, I can't give, I don't have enough, and so they remain in lack. But those who understand abundance know that giving is not a loss, it is an investment. It is a declaration to the universe, I have more than enough, and the universe responds accordingly, ensuring that wealth flows back to them in greater measure. Do not misunderstand, giving is not about reckless spending or throwing away money without purpose. It is about circulating wealth with intention. It is about giving from a place of faith, knowing that what you release will return to you multiplied. This does not always mean giving money. It could be giving your time, your energy, your kindness, your knowledge. When you contribute to the lives of others, you open the channels for greater abundance to flow into your own. Some of the wealthiest people in history are also the most generous. They understand that money is meant to move, not to be locked away in fear. They do not give because they are rich because they give. Their generosity keeps the cycle of abundance active in their lives. If you want to activate the flow of wealth, start giving today. Give with joy, not with fear. Give knowing that as you release, you are making space for more to come. Give without expectation, and yet know with certainty that the universe will return it to you in ways you cannot yet imagine. Most people live their lives begging for blessings instead of walking in the authority that is already theirs. They see themselves as victims, as people who must struggle and plead for what they want. But a king does not beg. A king commands. And if you are to attract true wealth, you must begin to see yourself as one who already possesses it. Look at the way wealthy individuals carry themselves. They do not hesitate, they do not shrink. They do not second guess their worth. They move with certainty because they know they belong in the realm of abundance. It is not arrogance, it is alignment. They expect the best, and so the best comes to them. On the other hand, those who struggle financially often carry a mindset of unworthiness. They say, I am not lucky, I don't deserve success. People like me don't get rich. And so they live in a state of lack, not because the universe is against them, but because they have accepted poverty as their identity. They have chosen to see themselves as beggars when they were meant to be kings. The truth is, you do not need to ask for wealth, it is already yours. It is written, ask and it shall be given. Seek and you shall find. But ask with authority, not with desperation. Seek with confidence, not with doubt. The moment you decide deep in your soul that you are already wealthy, the world will begin to align itself to that truth. Change the way you carry yourself. Walk into every room as if you belong there. Speak as if you are already a success. Stop justifying why you do not have money and start affirming why wealth is your natural state. Stop seeing yourself as someone who must struggle and start seeing yourself as someone who is already rich. Kings do not hesitate to invest in themselves. They do not hesitate to seize opportunities. They do not hesitate to expect the best. They operate from a place of knowing, not from a place of doubt. And because they believe, the world responds in their favor. You are not here to scrape and struggle. You are not here to live at the mercy of circumstances. You were created to thrive, to expand, to receive the fullness of what is already yours. But first you must see yourself as worthy of it. You must take your place as a king, not as a beggar. The wealth you seek is not something you must chase, it is something you must claim. Your environment is a reflection of your mind, and your mind is shaped by what you consistently expose it to. If you want to be rich, you cannot afford to surround yourself with poverty in thinking, in speech, in behavior, or in lifestyle. The wealthy do not immerse themselves in environments that reinforce struggle. They intentionally place themselves in spaces that reflect abundance, and by doing so, they condition their minds to expect tragedy. Think of a seed. If you plant it in dry, barren soil, it will struggle to grow. It might sprout, but it will never reach its full potential. But if you plant that same seed in fertile, nutrient-rich soil, it will flourish effortlessly. Your mind is the seed, and your environment is the soil. If you constantly surround yourself with people who complain about money, who believe wealth is out of reach, who talk about how hard life is, then that belief will take root in your subconscious. Even if you try to think positively, your surroundings will reinforce scarcity. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who believe in abundance, who speak wealth into existence, who see opportunities instead of obstacles, then wealth will begin to feel natural to you. Their mindset will influence yours, and before you know it, you will begin operating on the same frequency as abundance. But it's not just about people. What do you watch? What do you listen to? What do you read? If you spend hours consuming news about financial crises, poverty, and struggle, then you are programming your mind to expect the same in your life. But if you immerse yourself in stories of success, in lessons from wealthy individuals, in teachings that expand your belief in abundance, then your subconscious will begin to align with prosperity. Even the physical spaces you occupy matter. You do not need to live in a mansion today, but you can start treating your current space as if it belongs to a wealthy person. Keep it clean, organized, and uplifting. Visit places of wealth not as an outsider looking in, but as someone who belongs. Walk into luxury stores even if you are not buying today. Stay in high-energy environments where abundance is the norm. The more you surround yourself with wealth, the more natural it will feel to you. And when wealth feels natural, it flows into your life effortlessly. One of the biggest reasons people fail to attract wealth is doubt. They set an intention, they begin the process, but then fear creeps in. What if this doesn't work? What if I never get rich? What if I fail? These thoughts poison the process before it even has a chance to unfold. Doubt is the enemy of manifestation. It is like planting a seed and then constantly digging it up to see if it's growing. That seed needs time to take root. But if you keep disturbing it with worry and fear, it will never have the chance to flourish. Wealth operates under a law as certain as gravity. When you align your mind, your words, and your actions with prosperity, results will follow. But they may not come instantly. This is where most people lose their way. They expect immediate results, and when they don't see them, they abandon the process. They declare this isn't working, and by doing so, they sabotage their own success. The wealthy understand that success is built on patience and certainty. They do not question whether money will come. They know it will. They do not constantly check their progress with anxiety. They move with the quiet confidence that what they desire is already on its way. Faith is the bridge between intention and reality. When you plant a seed of belief, you must trust that it will grow, even before you see the first sprout. You must hold on to your vision, even when nothing in your current reality reflects it yet. You must act as if the wealth you seek is already yours, because in the spiritual realm it is. Doubt is a form of resistance. It tells the universe that you are uncertain, and uncertainty creates delays. Imagine walking toward a destination but stopping every few steps to question whether you're on the right path. You would never get there. But if you walk with unwavering faith, knowing that your goal is inevitable, you would arrive faster and with less struggle. This is how wealth is attracted. You must make a decision, believe in it fully, and never waver. Even when challenges arise, even when the road seems unclear, you must stand firm in the knowing that abundance is already yours. The process is working even when you cannot see it. Trust the law of wealth. Trust the divine timing of your success. Trust that every step you take is leading you closer to the abundance that was meant for you all along. The moment you stop doubting, the moment you stop second guessing, is the moment you unlock the floodgates of prosperity. One of the greatest mistakes people make when trying to attract wealth is obsessing over how it will happen. They analyze, overthink, and try to control every single detail. They say, if I don't have a high-paying job, I can't be rich. Or if I didn't come from a wealthy family, I'll always struggle. This kind of thinking is what blocks financial abundance. The moment you try to control how money will come to you, you limit the infinite possibilities available to you. Wealth does not operate on logic alone, it operates on faith, expectation, and alignment. The universe has endless ways to bring you money, ways you cannot even imagine. But when you insist on a specific path, you close the door to unexpected blessings. It's like standing in front of a mansion with hundreds of doors, yet refusing to enter unless one particular door opens. Meanwhile, all the other doors stand wide open, waiting for you to step through. Look at the wealthiest people in the world. Many of them did not get rich in the way they initially expected. Some started down one path, only to be led in an entirely different direction. They did not micromanage their success, they remained open to opportunities. They trusted that wealth would come, even if they could not see how. This is where faith comes in. Faith means knowing that what you desire is already yours, even before you see any evidence. It means releasing the need to control the process and allowing the universe to work in ways beyond your understanding. It means shifting from a mindset of how will this happen to I know this is happening. When you obsess over the how, you create resistance. You send a message to the universe that you do not truly believe in abundance. You are saying, I don't trust that this will work unless I can see every step laid out before me. But that is not how manifestation works. You do not need to see the full staircase before taking the first step. You simply need to trust that each step will appear as you move forward. Think about it. Do you question how the sun will rise each morning? Do you wonder how your heart continues to beat without you thinking about it? These things happen effortlessly because they follow universal laws. Wealth follows the same principle. When you align yourself with abundance, money will come, often in ways you never anticipated. Many people block their own success by believing that only certain paths lead to wealth. They say, I need a degree to be successful, or I need a high-paying job, or I need to start a business. But wealth is not limited to a single path. Money can come through promotions, investments, unexpected opportunities, gifts, ideas, and countless other avenues. When you detach from the how, you allow yourself to receive wealth in the easiest, most effortless way possible. So how do you practice detachment? First, set your intention clearly. Decide that you are wealthy. Decide that money flows to you easily. Declare it with confidence. Second, release the need to control the process. Stop trying to figure out every detail. Your job is to believe and take inspired action, nothing more. Let the universe handle the rest. Third, stay open to opportunities. Wealth often comes in ways you least expect. That idea that suddenly pops into your mind, that chance meeting with a stranger, that new skill you feel drawn to learn, these could all be pathways to your fortune. Pay attention and follow the energy that excites you. Fourth, practice gratitude in advance. Act as if the wealth you desire has already arrived. Feel the joy, the relief, the excitement of financial freedom now, before it even manifests. This tells the universe that you are ready to receive. Trust the process. Remind yourself daily, I do not need to know how. I only need to know that it is happening. When you truly let go of the how, you make space for miracles. Wealth is not about struggle. It is not about controlling every detail. It is about alignment. When you trust, believe, and remain open, money flows to you with ease. The universe is already working on your behalf. Your only job is to get out of your own way and let it happen. Gratitude is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. It is the key that unlocks doors, the energy that attracts abundance, and the mindset that transforms struggle into ease. Yet most people only express gratitude after receiving something. They say, I'll be grateful when I have more money, or I'll be happy when I finally succeed. But this is a mistake. If you wait to feel grateful until after you receive, you are delaying your own blessings. The truth is, gratitude must come before the manifestation. You must be thankful now before the wealth appears, because gratitude is the signal that tells the universe you are ready to receive. When you live in gratitude, you align yourself with abundance. You shift from a mindset of lack to a mindset of overflow. And the universe responds by giving you more to be grateful for. Think of it like planting a garden. If you plant seeds but constantly complain that nothing is growing, you are working against the natural process. But if you water the soil with faith, believing that your harvest is already on its way, your plants will flourish. Gratitude is that water. It nourishes your desires and accelerates their arrival. Many people focus on what they don't have, and by doing so, they create more lack in their lives. They say, I wish I had more money, but the energy behind their words is frustration, not gratitude. They focus on debts, on expenses, on what is missing. And because the universe mirrors their energy, they continue to experience lack. But when you shift to gratitude, everything changes. Instead of saying, I don't have enough, start saying, I am so grateful for the money I do have. Instead of worrying about bills, give thanks for the ability to pay them. Instead of feeling envious of others' success, celebrate their wealth as proof that abundance is available to you as well. The moment you start focusing on what is good in your life, you will see more good appear. One of the most powerful practices you can develop is gratitude in advance. Thank God for the wealth that is already yours in the unseen realm. Before the money arrives, before the opportunities present themselves, before the success unfolds, give thanks as if it has already happened. Say, I am so grateful for my financial freedom. I am so thankful that money flows to me effortlessly. I rejoice in the abundance that is pouring into my life. When you do this with sincerity, you create a vibration of certainty. You are no longer hoping for wealth, you are expecting it. Wealthy people understand this principle. They are not just grateful when they receive large amounts of money. They are grateful at all times. They do not dwell on problems, they focus on possibilities. They do not complain about temporary setbacks, they give thanks for lessons learned. And because of this, they continue to attract success. But gratitude is not just about words, it is about emotion. You cannot simply say, I am grateful, while feeling frustrated or doubtful inside. You must feel gratitude deeply. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and truly experience the joy of financial abundance, even before it arrives. Imagine the freedom, the security, the generosity you will be able to express when wealth is flowing effortlessly into your life. The more you feel it now, the faster it becomes your reality. Another way to cultivate gratitude is to practice giving. When you give, you affirm that you have more than enough. Even if you only have a small amount, give something, whether it's money, time, or kindness. Giving reinforces the belief that you are blessed, and in return, you will receive more. The wealthiest people in the world are also the most generous. They do not give because they are rich because they give. Start keeping a daily gratitude journal. Each morning or night, write down at least 5 things you are grateful for. Do not just list them, feel the gratitude in your heart. The more you train yourself to focus on abundance, the more abundance will flow into your life. Gratitude is not just an emotion, it is a strategy. It is the mindset that shifts you from scarcity to wealth. It is the force that magnetizes success toward you. When you live in gratitude now, you unlock a future filled with unlimited prosperity. Everything you desire is already within your reach. Wealth is not something you chase, it is something you align with. The struggle, the doubt, the fear, these are illusions that keep you trapped in limitation. But now you know the truth. You are not meant to live in lack. You are not meant to fight for every dollar. You were created for abundance, for overflow, for prosperity beyond measure. The moment you shift your mindset, the moment you start believing in your own power, the world will begin to reshape itself around you. Wealth is not reserved for the few, it is available to all who dare to believe. Speak it, feel it, trust it, and act as if it is already yours. Give freely, walk in the authority of abundance, surround yourself with success, release doubt, and live in gratitude now. These are not just ideas, they are laws, unchanging, unfailing, and absolute. The universe is already working in your favor. Doors you never even imagined are opening. Money is flowing toward you in ways beyond your understanding. Your only task is to step into the knowing that getting rich is super easy, because once you do, nothing can stop the wealth that is already making its way to you. Believe it, claim it, live it, and watch as your world transforms before your eyes.